Okay, so I want us now to continue. So like now, as I said, the bonds around a carbon must always be 4. So like now, these are the 4 things that I think you should know in each and every homologous series. So beside knowing the fact of the suffix, whether it's saturated or unsaturated and stuff. So these are the 4 things that which I want us to be able to do. Um, One, you need to be able to do what we call the IUPAC name. The IUPAC name basically is just the name. The methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, whatever. Now that we haven't done the branches. Then 2, you need to be able to do what we call the structural formula. You need to be able to draw the structural formula. Then like now, number 3, you need to be able to do the condensed structural formula. Then like the last thing is you need to be able to do what we call the molecular formula, which we did this in grade 10, molecular formula. So like now I'm going to start. So I'm going to show you about 4 of this in this clip. So you need to be able to do the IUPAC name, the structural formula, the condensed structural formula, and the molecular formula. So like now, let me just show you these 4 things in this. So 1, let's just say we're gonna do methane as our molecule. So methane, we did say it has how many carbon atom? 1. So the meth comes from 1. So this is the IUPAC name. So it means already we have the first thing. So this is the IUPAC name, which is methane. 2, we need to be able to draw the structure. So the structure of this is, it must be 1 carbon surrounded by how many bonds? I said 4. So like it means it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we said it's a hydrocarbon, meaning it's carbon bonded with hydrogen only. So this will be the structure of what we call a what? Of like what we call a methane. So like now, this is number 2. Number 3, we said we need to be able to do what? We need to be able to do it's condensed. So it's condensed, you do it like this. You're going to say, is this carbon? Then you write the carbon. Then like it's surrounded by how many hydrogen? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrogen. So it will be CH4. So the H simply means we have 1 carbon and we have 4 hydrogen. So that is the condensed. I hope this makes sense. So it's 1 carbon and then surrounded by 4 hydrogen. Then like now, number 4, it's the molecular formula. So you use the general formula to determine the molecular formula. So like now, I said this is what you're going to do. So it will be C, then here it's N. The N, I said it stands for the number of carbon atoms. So how many carbon atoms do we have? We have 1. So basically I can write 1 here. So basically I'll just say 2 multiplied by 1 plus 2. Or like let's just write it for the sake of those maybe who might struggle with this. So like the 1 just represent the number of carbon atoms. So therefore it will be CH. Then 2 multiplied by 1, of course, is 2. Then 2 plus 2, which becomes what? Which becomes 4. So this becomes the molecular formula of this. Hope this makes sense. So now this is the IUPAC name. This is now the structure. This is the condensed. Then this is the molecular formula. Let's try the second one so that at least maybe you see how it works. So like now let's try the second one. Then we're gonna do like the second one and the third one. So like now the second one, it's what? It's ethane. Ethane comes from eth, meaning it must have 2 carbon atoms. So 1 and 2. So there must be a bond joining them. So check this out. We said the bond around a carbon must always be 4. So already there is 1 between both of them. So it means this one, it needs 1, 2, 3. That when we count, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 around this. Sorry. And then also this one, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. And it must be single bonds because we said alkanes are saturated. So like now, this will be the structure. Then we put our hydrogen atoms around this. Then this, we put our hydrogen atoms. Hope this makes sense. So like the bonds is always 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then now this is the name. This is the structure. Then number 3, then we're going to do what we call the condensed. Can we do that? So we're going to start with this carbon. So it will be this carbon. And then it is how many hydrogen? So it's the first carbon atom surrounded by 3 hydrogens. It's not 4, we see 3 hydrogens. So it means it will be CH3, meaning is this carbon surrounded by 3 hydrogen. Then the second carbon, it's surrounded by how many hydrogen? It's still surrounded by 3 hydrogens. Then this becomes the condensed. Then number 4, And then we're gonna have the molecular formula. So CnH2n plus 2. So C, how many like now carbons do we have? We have 2 carbons now. So on N we substitute 2. So it means it will be C2H2 multiplied by 2 plus 2. And then it means it will be C2H what? So 2 multiplied by 2, it will be 4. 4 plus that is basically 6. Then we count. So this thing, it suggests that we need to have 2 carbons and 6 hydrogens. So we're going to have 2 carbons. How many hydrogen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is actually what it means. So it becomes your what? It becomes your molecular formula of ethane. Let's try the last one, which is propane. Butane. Let's just change this a bit. So we're gonna have what we call butane. So butane, it must have how many carbon atoms? So it comes from but, so it must have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And don't forget, it must have single bonds. So this one, it has 3 bonds, so it needs, it has 1, so it needs 3. So this one, it already has 2, so it needs 1, 2. Then also this one, it needs 1, 2. Then this one, it needs 1, 2, 3. Please don't forget, the bonds around a carbon must always be 4. And then we put the hydrogen atoms around this. We put the hydrogen atoms. So this, it becomes your what? Your butane. And then now this is the name, which is the IUPAC name. This is the structure. Then we're left with what? With the condensed and the molecular. Let's do the condensed. So it is this carbon. It's surrounded by how many hydrogens? 3 of them. So the second one is this carbon surrounded by how many hydrogens? 2. Then the third one is this carbon surrounded by 2. Then the last one is this carbon surrounded by 3. So it will be CH3, CH2, CH2, then CH3. Or if you are lazy to do this, you can basically say CH3, open bracket, CH2, close bracket, 2, CH3. What do we mean by this? It means a CH3, then 2 of the CH2. So it's basically this and this. If you are lazy to do it like this. And then lastly, CH3. So it's basically something like this. And then now let's do the molecular formula of this. And then, so CnH2n plus 2. So C, how many carbons do we see? 4 of them. So it means it will be C4H2 multiplied by 4 plus 2. So meaning it will be C4H10. So this will be the molecular formula of butane. Hope this makes sense, and I hope this did try to help. If you have any questions, of course, you're gonna try to contact me on my inbox, then I'll be able to help.